Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. Yeah, I'm doing another top 100 favorite albums again. You might be thinking, Jason, didn't you just finish your top 100 favorite albums this last year? Yeah, I did. I finally got through it. But the truth is, when I first put that top 100 favorite albums, it was the first big project I did on my channel. I started it 3 years ago in 2021, basically. Because I was watching a lot of YouTube channels. And I became friends with a lot of people that were big music people, and I was still like not knowing a lot about albums and stuff like that. So I was just very new to a lot of. I wasn't doing deep dives yet on different artists, so I really wasn't that familiar with a lot of people. So I was just starting to get familiar with the big albums that were out there, and so I was kind of almost new to it. But I don't know why I wanted to put 100 favorite albums list together, because I love putting lists together. And I thought it'd be fun to try to put together, because I never tried to do that before. I put 100 favorite movies. I've done that so many times. Like, I'm continually like remaking that list. I'm continuing that I'm doing on my channel right now. But yeah, so this was something I first kind of got into, and I only did one album basically per episode, so it took me 3 years. It took me way too long to put that list together, and after 3 years, my list is so different that after I'm looking at it and I go, man, this my 100 favorite albums I put together, it does not represent my 100 favorite albums at all. It's drastically different. So I don't know. I just was compelled this last week to put together a new 100 favorite albums list, kind of change it up. Added a lot of albums to it. There's a lot of albums that are now not in the list, and there's a lot of new albums in the list, because I've heard so many great albums in the last 3 years. I really got into more deep dives on certain bands and artists that I've liked, and even discovered some new artists that I didn't really know that much about. And I've become friends with people like Scott from Soundlab Studios, Brian from Briar Music Showcase, and Nick from Townsend 505. We kind of formed this really close group. And Jacob Martin, Adam from What the Gym is also in there. But the four of us, we've done so many videos together on music, and I've learned so much about music from those three. I've really expanded my knowledge, and I've heard so much new stuff. Anyway, so coming to it, I was like, man, I really want to put a new list together that really better represents my 100 favorite albums. Anyways, and plus, I love putting lists together. It's always a fun thing. But yeah, I just kind of put this together recently. I redid this list. Also, when I looked back at my videos, I've just started the channel. I really didn't know what I was doing as far as YouTube goes. I didn't have any of the equipment that I have now. I had a worse iPhone. I think I had an iPhone 7, now I have an iPhone 11. So it's a little better quality, I think. I can do better videos. I can edit better. I didn't do any editing back then, and I didn't know how to do thumbnails. So I didn't know how to do a thumbnail. So the thumbnails are terrible on those videos. I really kind of hate looking back at them, and I really didn't know what I was doing, and I really don't like those videos. So that's why I kind of was like, I really want to put a new 100 albums list together again to really represent and put a playlist together. So if anybody wants to look at my 100 favorite albums, they can go to that playlist and really get a sense. And again, it's going to change a lot in the next year, because there's still more artists and bands I haven't discovered yet, or I haven't gone deep dives on. So yeah, like I said, the big change is that I've done so many deep dives in the last couple of years that a lot of those bands or artists I've done deep dives on, they've got multiple albums on my list now that they used to not have any. So that's changed so much there. And when I was putting 100 albums list together, I can barely make 100 albums. Like, I struggled coming up with 100 albums to talk about, where I'm like, I mean, at the bottom, I'm like, man, I don't know if I like this album that much, but I needed something. I need to fill out the 100, so I put it in there, and I wasn't real happy about it. Now, not only do I put all 100 albums are great albums I really love, plus there was like 30 albums that I had to cut out, couldn't even get on my list that I really love. So it's like, not only did I have plenty to fill out 100 albums, I had so many albums I had to cut out that I really hated to cut out. So I have an overabundance of favorite albums now. So that's really cool and makes it a lot easier to put in. It makes it harder to figure out what albums get in, what don't get out, but it makes it easier to really love this list. And I can really stand by this list a lot better than my last list anyways. Funny enough, my friend Scott, he just did his 100 through 91 on his channel, Sound Up Studios. Definitely check that out. I really love seeing his stuff because he really knows a lot about music. Nick from Townsend 505 is also doing one. He's doing like 5 to 8 minute videos and doing one album at a time. So he's only done like 5 or 6 videos so far, and hopefully he continues on. I hope he continues on and finish that list as well. I love to see their list, and so yeah, I'm putting my list together again here. Doing the same thing Scott's doing, instead of doing one at a time, which definitely was a big mistake on my part, but I did do a lot of information on each album. I kind of did it because I was like, I'm gonna give you as much information as I can on each album. And so that's why I do one at a time. I didn't have enough time to put multiples. This time I'm gonna do like what Scott does. I'm gonna do 10 albums at a time because I want to get through this list fairly quickly because, again, my list changes so quickly because I'm continually discovering new albums. And so I definitely need to put this out quickly. So I can say, okay, this definitely represents what I thought at the time. And then, in another year, I might put out another 100 favorite albums list. It's like every year I might change this list up. We'll see. But anyways, I know it's a long intro, but just kind of explain myself why I'm putting this together again. But let's get on to my 100 favorite albums here on Jason the Old Millennial. Hello, hope everybody's doing well here on a Friday night. My Kansas Jayhawks, #1 team in the country in basketball, are playing tonight. So won't see it on TV, but I'll see the highlights at least. It's an exhibition game, but also I'm going to a KU game on November 4th. Their, I think, first game of the season. I'm going to be in Allen Fieldhouse watching it live, so I'll probably do a video on that when that comes up. Pretty excited. I haven't been to a KU Jayhawk game in like 5 years anyways, but I know you're not here for that. You're here for the album, so let's get to my top 100, starting with number 100. And these are pretty big hitters. I looked at my list and I go, wow, like I'm so excited to put out this list again, because even 100 through 91, you're going to be like, wow, these are such great albums. How do you have it so low? And I should say, of course, obviously, if you know me, my music tastes are rock music, pop music, and folk music. So that's where all my albums are going to fit in those categories. I don't listen to rap. I don't listen to jazz, blues, country, R&B, whatever, heavy metal. I don't really listen to punk rock, stuff like that. I don't listen to a lot of that kind of stuff. Anyway, so it's fairly limited on what I love to listen to. And I think, obviously, the 60s and 70s are probably going to be the decades most represented, because I'm a biggest fan of the 60s, 70s period. So you can see a lot of albums from that. Anyways, need to say anyways. So number 100, what made number 100, what barely got in, and that is Tommy from The Who. Yeah, Tommy's big rock opera from 1969. I want to say this is when they're starting to change their sound a little bit from the British invasion, early mid-rock, to more, I don't know if you want to say psychedelic, but they're definitely going to the more psychedelic or hard rock era, I guess, with this. And to me, this is like the first really great album from them. It's actually my third favorite Who album, so there's 2 more Who albums that are higher on my list. I do love The Who. The Who is one of my favorite bands of all time. And this album was on my top 100 last time. Even though I've always really liked this album since I was a teenager. It was the first Who album I ever discovered when I was a teenager. And I thought it was just so cool. I'd never heard of a rock opera, and I thought that was such a cool idea. And what I love is all the instrumental stuff is just fantastic. I just love the idea of putting, like a musical and rock music together. I don't know, it's just a cool thing. I actually kind of love that idea. And I can't say I've heard too many, like Jesus Christ Superstar is another one. I really love that album. That kind of also combines the rock opera sense. But yeah, the only reason why I didn't have it in my top 100 last time is just because I'm not a big fan of the whole story line of Tommy. Is kind of this kind of sad figure, and some bad things happen to him. He gets bullied. He goes to the Acid Queen, which I don't know. He's doing some crazy stuff there. And then, of course, Uncle Ernie. I hate Uncle Ernie, and his 2 songs are just terrible, especially Fiddle About. Won't go into it, but it's just a horrible song. I just really hate that song. I have to skip it every time I go through it. That kind of hurts the album. And then just the ending, it's just a weird ending to the story. Anyways, but again, musically, yeah, great stuff here. I mean, it's hard to even point out a song because all the songs kind of run together and because it tells a story and all that. Obviously, Pinball Wizard was my definitely my favorite song on the album. Absolutely love that. Very catchy and whole storyline of deaf dumb blind kid can play pinball and he's like the best pinball player. Kind of a funny idea. But I mean, what can I say? Like a lot of these songs, even the beginning, Overture to It's a Boy to 1921, man, I love those three together are really great. Christmas is really great. Acid Queen's kind of one of their most well-known songs here. Go to the Mirror, then goes into Tommy Can You Hear Me, which is, great. Tommy Can You Hear Me? One fantastic part of the album. Then goes right into Smash the Mirror, where he gets free. He can see and hear again and talk, and it goes right into Sensation. That whole sequence is great as well. Then to I'm Free, where he's kind of free again. And then he kind of starts the whole cult thing. And then the closer, we're not going to take it. You got the feel me, hear me, see me, or whatever. That part's iconic. Great stuff. But yeah, Tommy at number 100 on my list. All right, number 99, an album I don't own. Unfortunately, I don't own all these albums. I still got a lot to own. But number 99 is Honky Chateau by Elton John. Came out in 1972. It's actually my second favorite Elton John album. So I only got two Elton John albums, which is too bad because I actually like a lot of his albums I've heard. I haven't heard all his albums, but of the first part, I've heard his open or his debut, like all the way to Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. I've heard all those albums. I give a lot of 9 out of 10. In fact, I should say all these albums right now are 9 out of 10. So Tommy's a 9 out of 10. Honky Chateau is a 9 out of 10 as well. Yeah, I give a lot of 9 out of 10. So again, to get on my list, I have so many 9.5s and 10s on my list actually. So even if you get a 9 out of 10, it's hard to get on my top 100 now. That's how good my top 100 is for me. That this album I think is a really great Elton John album, and it only comes in number 99. But yeah, definitely excellent album. One that I wasn't familiar with when I got to it, and kind of surprised me how great I thought the album was. Obviously, Rocket Man is my favorite song on here. Love Rocket Man. I mean, it's one of the most iconic Elton John songs. I mean, catchy Rocket Man. So good stuff. And William Shatner has one of the great covers as well of this song. But Honky Cat, the opener, is really good. It's really catchy, kind of more fast-paced number. It's a great, I mean, what I love about Elton John, he can do great ballads, pop songs. He's such a good pop song singer. And then he can do a little bit rock too. He does a little bit of everything. But Honky Cat, really catchy. Mellow, really great, more slower song, really great. It's a great deep cut that I didn't know about. Salvation, another really great deep cut on the album. And then also Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatter's, another great deep. So there's a lot of great deep cuts, only really two big hits. A lot of great deep cuts on this album. Yeah, I'm a big Elton John fan, so I had to get this on the list at number 99, Honky Chateau. Number 8, someone who kind of, to me, similar, I love, like Elton John. This is 52nd Street by Billy Joel that came out in 1978. Yeah, Elton John, Billy Joel, I mean, man, the two best, like, to me, my two favorite piano singer-songwriters, whatever, though Elton John didn't write a lot of stuff, but I need to say, it's like, man, their piano playing is so amazing. I feel like, and Billy Joel's kind of similar, I guess. He can do the fast-paced kind of rockers sometimes. He does really well. He can do the great ballads. I love his ballads, his pop stuff. Similar to me, they're almost kind of somewhat similar in some senses, but yeah, 52nd Street, this is an album that was, I would say Honky Chateau was not on my 100 favorite albums list before. So that's a new item on the list. 52nd Street is a new album on the list. I didn't make my other because I haven't really gone through Billy Joel yet. I've now gone through some of his bigger albums, so I am loving what I'm hearing from Billy Joel. There's still some more albums I need to catch up on with Billy Joel and Elton John too. I haven't caught up on all his stuff as well, but yeah, 52nd Street is definitely one that I think it was one that was well, I think I heard it because it won Grammy Album of the Year. So I've listened to all the Grammy Album of the Years recently. So that's where I kind of came across this album. Only album that won Billy Joel, and he's had some other big album hits, of course. But very, I definitely agree this was a great album, and it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Definitely deserved Album of the Year for when it came out in 78, I think. Definitely one of his best albums. Again, it's my second favorite Billy Joel albums. So I only have 2 Billy Joel albums, unfortunately. Again, I need to listen to more stuff. Maybe I'll get some more stuff on the list in the future. Who knows? Because I love what I hear from Billy Joel again. And it starts with Big Shot, was a fairly big hit for him, I think. More of a, I'd say, fast-paced pop song. Not one of my favorite necessarily, but still pretty catchy. Pretty good stuff here. And then you got My Life. It's another kind of hit for him, I think. I've heard on the radio. It's another kind of faster-paced, I think, rock song. Another really good one from him, really catchy. Honesty, another, I think, big hit for him. Just a great ballad. One of his best ballads at this point. Yeah, I love that song. My favorite song on the album, though, is a new discovery, and that's Rosalina's Eyes. What a great song. That one really, blew me away. I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever heard this song before. I don't know that it was a hit or anything for him. But I was like, this is the best song on the album. One of my favorite Billy Joel songs now, Rosalina's Eyes. Really great song. And then Until the Night is also another great song towards the end, another with some great horns as well. So yeah, 52nd Street from Billy Joel, number 98 on my list. Number 97, I have Synchronicity from The Police. Came out in 1983, the year I was born. Again, this is another album that didn't make my 100 favorite albums list last time. I didn't really get into The Police until, I don't know, recently. In fact, one of the first videos I did with Scott and Nick, I think, and maybe Briar, is we went through The Police's whole discography, which they only have 5 albums, so it's pretty easy discography to go through. And that's the first time I've ever went through any of the Police albums. Like, I've heard of them. I know Sting, I knew their big hits, I guess, but didn't really know that much anyways. And I even did a deep dive on them as well. So I kind of really got into The Police and listened to all the albums. This is the only album of The Police that made on my list, but I feel like I needed The Police on my list because they were pretty big. They only made 5 albums, whatever, not very much, but they made a pretty big impact. I mean, such a unique sound. I think Sting, is one of the best vocalists. I love his voice. It's a great trio, a band. I mean, the drumming, the guitar playing, bass playing, all really excellent. And I love the new wave sound. I kind of just came accustomed to the whole idea of new wave, it seemed like in the last year or two. And I'm like really digging what I'm hearing from the new wave bands anyways. And Police is one of the big ones. And they're just so unique in how they put in rock and funk and Jamaican and whatever. They mix so many different styles together. But this is their 5th and last album, and it's definitely my favorite album. It's the biggest hit too as well. But and it's got the huge hit, Every Breath You Take, one song of the year at the Grammys. Definitely one of my favorite Police songs. Probably my favorite on this album, actually. Such a great ballad. I mean, yeah, we all know, we've heard that so many times. Kind of a stalker song, but man, is it a great ballad stalker song. But Synchronicity 1 and 2 is really great on here. Walk in Your Footsteps, so catchy. Walking in Your Footsteps. I mean, Sting's vocal, so good here. King of Pain, another really great song on here. I think it might have been a minor hit for him. I'm not sure. It's not one I was familiar with until I listened to the album. King of Pain, that was a top 10 Police song as well. And then Tina Sahara, I think, is actually quite good too. I actually quite enjoyed that song as well. So Synchronicity here at 97. 96, actually have this album. It's one of my favorite rock bands. And we have Houses of the Holy by Led Zeppelin. This is actually my 3rd favorite Led Zeppelin album. So I got 3 Led Zeppelin albums in my top 100, where I had 2 last time. So this is, I didn't have this on my list last time, so this was added to my list. And of course, I've done a deep dive on them. I haven't done it on the channel yet. That's definitely one that's going to come up, doing Led Zeppelin, because they're definitely one of the most influential rock bands of the 70s period. And I'm reading a biography on them as well. And yeah, to me, they're probably the greatest rock band of the 70s. I mean, it's hard. You can say Queen as well, but Queen went on to the 80s as well. But Led Zeppelin started in 69 and then ended like at the end of the 70s and didn't go on. So they're only like a 70s band, basically. I mean, 60s and into the 70s. But and this is one that kind of grew on me. I don't think I loved it as much the first time I heard it, but it made my list. Again, 9 out of 10 album. Definitely the more I hear it, the more it's growing on me. I know this is my friend Scott's favorite Led Zeppelin album when we did it. In fact, we did we went through the whole discography on one of the channels. I I don't know, it might have been SoundLab Studios channel. We went through the whole, which they don't have a big discography either. They only have like 7 or 8 albums. But we went through every album as a group, basically. And at the end, we kind of averaged all our scores together, and House of the Holy was #1 of the group. We all had this really high on our list, and like I said, Scott had #1, I had #3. Nick probably had it #1 or #2 on his as well. But yeah, it's not very many songs, and but some of the top songs are just so good. Some of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs. This came out in 1973, by the way. Rain Song, definitely a song that's really growing on me. I don't think I cared for it that much first time I heard it, but the more I hear it, I'm more like, yeah, this is a really good song. The Rain Song. Yeah, Over the Hills and Far Away. I'm gonna say it's my favorite song on the album. I mean, another classic, top 10 song for me. Love the acoustic guitar work, which you don't hear that often with the, I mean, here it's like on Led Zeppelin 3 more maybe, but in some songs, but you know, they're known for their big rock riffs and stuff like that. So this is a nice acoustic song kind of. And there, Dancing Days, man, that's what really put me over when I heard Dancing Days over again. I was like, man, this song is so good. That whatever, that guitar riff, amazing. Like a lot of guitar riffs from Led Zeppelin, so great. Jamaica, I love that song. It's probably my second favorite song on the album, top 10 Led Zeppelin song. And it's funny, some people in my group didn't like that song. I love that song. It's one of my favorite. So unique. I think, again, Robert Plant's vocals, so unique and so great and so perfect for the band. One of the best vocalists, I think, out there in the rock. Anyways, but definitely different, has a different, again, I want to say Jamaican sound. That might not be the right word, but it has kind of a cool sound to it. And then The Ocean, closes on The Ocean. Ocean, another like top 10. This is like 3 top 10 Led Zeppelin songs on this album. That's why it's in my top 100 here. But yeah, Ocean, again, great guitar riff, great closer, I think. Another great song on there. It's funny, famously, if you ever watch any of those videos we did, I hated No Quarter. That was my least favorite song on the album. I thought it was a terrible song. It was way too long, a little too bluesy. All the stuff I say. I don't like long bluesy songs. That's kind of the joke in my group. And everybody in my group was like, No Quarter was their favorite song. Or at least, I think Nick was. I think a couple of them, it was like, No Quarter is my favorite song. And then to me, I was like, No Quarter is my least favorite song. So it was one of those things where I disagree with a lot of people, I suppose, on that one. But still, House is Holy here at number 96. Made it into my top 100. All right, number 95, we got Back Home Again by John Denver, which I have the CD here. Came out in 1974. This is my 3rd favorite John Denver album, so I got 2 more up higher on my list. Yeah, love John Denver, one of my favorite singer-songwriters of all time. Beautiful voice, great songwriter. Love the acoustic guitar work here as well. Definitely one of his big albums as well. I mean, Annie's song is the big one on here. It's my favorite song on here. Again, top 10 John Denver song. I mean, one of the greatest love songs of all time. My mom went down the aisle on the song when she married my dad. So this was like this is probably her favorite song. It's really cool. And they're almost married 50 years now. Next August, it'll be 50 years for my dad, my parents. But yeah, You Fill Up My Senses, like something in the forest, like the way he describes the loving feeling. It's so great in here. Beautiful song. But of course, Back Home Again, the title song is great. Nice catchy number. About, of course, he's traveling a lot through his music, and so it feels good to be back home again, he says. Matthew, oh my gosh, great song, super catchy. Another storytelling about an uncle that comes to work on the farm to help their dad out, he says. And his uncle's from Kansas, I think, so I love that because I'm from Kansas. Kansas represent here. Yep, Kansas. So you got, and he talks about the great Kansas skies and the wheat fields, because got a lot of wheat fields in Kansas, a lot of farmland. So I love the description of the state of Kansas in that song. It's a really nice, lovely song, really catchy. Also, Eclipse is great. Sweet Surrender is a great song. And This Old Guitar, another top 10 favorite John Denver song. A song about his guitar and how he learned to write songs. He says, with this old guitar, I learned to write, love songs, and I learned how to laugh and how to cry. The lyrics are great. vocally beautiful. Yeah, love this old guitar. All right, number 94 is the most recent album on my list, and this is Parachutes by Coldplay. Came out in 2000. So this album's almost 25 years old, and it's like one of the newer ones on my list. I got some more newer ones on my list, but on this bottom 10, yeah, definitely the outlier because everything else is 60s, 70s. And then I got this one 2000. But of course, I was in high school when this came out, and this is Coldplay's first album. It was a big hit for them. They had some pretty big hits on here. Some songs are really well known that they play a lot, even to this day, as big, concert songs for them, I think, and ones that you know them by. Yeah, at first, as soon as I heard like Coldplay play, like when I was in high school, I saw a music video, and I'll just say my favorite song is actually Trouble. Trouble. I saw a music video on VH1 when I was, like sophomore or whatever, junior in high school, and when that song came on, that piano, bum ba bum ba bum bum ba bum ba bum. Oh, it's so beautiful. And then the lead singer, I'm forgetting his name now, but Chris, his vocals, oh my gosh, so good. Oh, I didn't mean to cause you trouble. Oh, it's so great. I love that piano with his voice. It was beautiful. And I was like, who is this band? And ever since, I'm a big Coldplay fan. They're probably my favorite, like, most recent band that plays today and still comes up with music, even though they've been around for a while now. Like I said, they've been around for 25 years, which is crazy. That's just how old I'm getting. But yeah, their big song, Yellow, obviously was like their first big hit on here. Great song. I love how it starts off very soft, like a ballad, and then that guitar comes in. Oh my gosh, that guitar is so amazing. And it's like, it hits you, and you're like, oh my God, this went from a great ballad to a great rock song. And yeah, just one that, I guess, again, like I said, one of their most iconic songs, Yellow, anyways. Shiver, really great song. Another, I don't know if it was a hit song. It was on Guitar Hero. That's where I first heard the song. Anyways, and I thought it was great on Guitar Hero. But yeah, another really great song for them. I don't know, every song is actually pretty good on this album. The more I looked at it, more I was like, maybe this should be higher on my list. But it's an album I suppose I haven't heard enough. I need to hear more. But Don't Panic, Spy, Sparks, Parachutes, all really good songs on here. And yeah, it's definitely, if you don't know Coldplay, I think definitely check this debut out. It's really great. Number 93, and I should say Parachutes was on my top 100 favorite albums last time, but it was actually higher on my list. It's actually much lower now. It was actually like a top 50 album, but like I said, I've changed a lot on so many new albums on my list that kind of got bumped down to 94. But next at number 93, I got Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. It's their trio, I guess. It's Jimi Hendrix, but I guess it's a trio in total. It's their debut album. It's the only album I have on my top 100 list. It's always been my favorite Jimi Hendrix album. Of course, they only have 3, so there's not a lot to choose from. But yeah, this is such a great debut. I mean, come on, this is like a great hits album. It has some of his best hits on it. I mean, it's just crazy how many hit songs are on here. And yeah, this is great. Of course, I love the album cover. As you can see, it's so psychedelic. It's one of the greatest psychedelic albums of all time. Jimi Hendrix, I mean, man, what a guitar player. He's my favorite guitar player of all time, and you get right away with this album. I mean, so many great songs, so many great guitar riffs, great guitar solos, and his use of feedback and other guitar tricks are just so, you hear it here, and I hear this album, I go, wow, this came out in 1967, and I don't think we've topped it as far as guitar playing. Like in almost 60 years, I haven't heard a guitar player play as good as him. It's amazing. This was on my top 100 favorite albums this last time. In fact, it's probably, I don't know if it was higher than this, but it was actually probably around here. I didn't have it real high last time either, which is crazy because there's a lot I love about it, and there's some stuff I don't like about the album. But first off, opens with Purple Haze, my favorite Jimi Hendrix song, one of my favorite rock songs of all time, one of the greatest guitar riff intros of all time. The bum 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 ba na 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 da na na na. Oh, it sounds so amazing, and it's so good. So catchy, and the guitar playing, the solos are so good. And excuse me while I kiss the sky. Oh, amazing. Yeah, great way to open the album. Like I said, my favorite song of his. You know, Hey Joe is his first big hit, is on here. A little slower song, but man, great song. Hey Joe, what are you doing with that gun in your hand? Oh, so good. Then you got The One Cries Mary, another hit for him, I believe, radio hit. Another kind of more chill song, but really great. I just love the guitar playing as well on this. Um, yeah, Foxy Lady. Oh man, first I heard this on Wayne's World, where Garth is trying to seduce this girl that he likes, and they play the song and Foxy, you know you're a heartbreaker, Foxy. Yeah, such a fun sequence, but it's really a great song. And when you get to that, I wanna take you home, dun 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 dun. Dun. I won't do you no wrong, bum bum ba da da da. Oh my gosh, that part is so amazing. You're mine, all mine, Foxy Lady. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I hear it in my head when I'm singing along to it. It's so good. The guitar playing, the drumming, bass playing. It's just an amazing song. This would be like my favorite song if it wasn't for Purple Haze. It's just so good. It has to be number one, but Foxy Lady is one of the greatest rock songs as well. And then Manic Depression is also very good. It's kind of the best, I think, kind of deep cut. Fire too. Fire is a great deep cut. Fire is an amazing, another great. I've heard it on a commercial before, but for the most part, I think it's a deep cut. Again, great rock riff on there. Amazing rock song as well. One of my favorite on the album, actually, like my third favorite song on the album. The only problem is like Third Stone from the Sun. Oh my gosh, that song is way too long. It's like over 6 minutes. It's just him jamming. It's just a long jam. It seems like it goes on forever and ever. And you're like, can we just get to the end and get to the next song, which is Foxy Lady? And I remember me and Nick were talking about this, and he agreed with me, I believe. Like, that song just drags on. You're like, let's get to the next song. Yeah, but that hurts. And there's a couple other songs on here I'm not a big fan of. So some of the lesser songs kind of hurt the album. So again, man, if he could have taken out some of those worst songs, put some more good ones in, this would be really, really high on my list. It'd be like, again, it's a 9 out of 10 album, but it easily could be a 10 out of 10 album with a couple tweaks. All right, getting towards the end of my list, number 92, we're going to see the first Beatles album all the way down here, and it is A Hard Day's Night. Yeah, all the way down to number 92 on my list. Of course, this is their third album coming out in 1964. Again, this was on my list before. It was much higher. Beatles, it took a little bit of a hit for the Beatles. I had 12 Beatle albums on my top 100 last time. This time I got 9, so my bottom 3 got kicked out, which I hate seeing because I'm a big Beatles. If you know anything about me, the Beatles are my favorite band by far. I absolutely love the Beatles. I do a lot of Beatles content on my channel. What can I say? But I had to be serious and go, yeah, I've heard so many great albums that I'm like, some of the lesser Beatles albums don't quite go up to some of the great other albums. But anyways, Hard Day's Night is like, to me, the first really great album that they did. And definitely, I thought it has to make it on my list. Even though, like I said, I have 9 Beatle albums on there. All 9, I think, are just so good. And this was the first album that has all Lennon McCartney songs. No covers, which I think that's what really helps this album because, you know, Please Please Me with the Beatles for Sale, all have a lot of cover songs on them. So this was such a nice fresh breath of fresh air, yeah, to get a whole album just because after this you're like, can we just get Lennon McCartney songs and some Harrison songs, of course, later on. You know, we don't need covers. We just need Lennon McCartney. That's the best stuff. And so it definitely gets better once you get to like Help and On, and it's mostly just originals. But this is the first all original album, and it's kind of the best of their early period. I would call the early like British rock invasion period, where they're kind of just doing a lot of more catchy rock and pop numbers and a couple ballads here and there. I feel like their ballads get better. They do have some good ballads on here as well. But even with like Help and Rubber Soul, they get some better ballads, and they really do a lot better in songwriting. Again, songwriting on here is more just I love you, or I'm sad because we broke up, or I have a crush on you. It's a lot of those type of songs, you know, that the girls want to hear. Like I said, and that's what, and of course, this came out with the movie as well. But this is the UK version, of course. The US version not nearly good, but yeah, again to the album. I mean, obviously a great opener with A Hard Day's Night. I mean, You can't get any better than that. That guitar beginning note, so iconic. It was #1 hit for them. Also, Can't Buy Me Love was a #1 hit for them, which is an okay song. It's funny. It's not one of my favorite Beatles songs, to be honest. And yet it was kind of one of the big ones on here. But I love I Should Have Known Better. Oh my gosh, with the harmonica at the beginning. So catchy. And some great harmonies. They really show their good harmonies on that one. Super catchy song. My favorite song on the album is If I Fell. Just an amazing ballad. The harmonies are so good. That's why I love this song. It's one of my favorite harmony songs, I think, from the Beatles. You know, if I fell for you, would you please? Ba-bum-bum-bum. I'm not doing the words right, but so beautiful anyways. Yeah, just a kind of a nice love song, kind of, or song about don't break up, don't break my heart. Second favorite is And I Love Her, another amazing ballad with Paul McCartney's really beautiful. And I remember hearing when I saw him in concert and he did this live. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Like even at 75, he was really nailing the song. It's just another beautiful love song, of course. Because And I Love Her. I love George Harrison's acoustic guitar playing here when he comes in on the second verse with his dee 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 dee, and then that guitar solo. I love that guitar solo. The acoustic guitar solo is really great, and it's easy to play, but it's beautiful and it works so well in the song. And yeah, Paul McCartney. I mean, this is like pre-Yesterday. Paul McCartney, like he wrote this song so then he can get to Yesterday. He's perfected the ballads. But it's got some other really good, more deep cuts, I suppose, on here. Like Tell Me Why is a really great, catchy rock song. Ain't Time at All is great. And then I really like the closer. I'll Be Back is another kind of ballad that closed out the album. I think underrated song, but yeah. Hard Day's Night at number 92. Might surprise some people that that low, but gosh, so many good albums to get through. And the last album I'm going to get to at number 91 is Boston by Boston. Came out in 1976. This is Boston's debut album. It's the only album I've heard from them, actually, but all I heard is how great. It's like, if you see any list that's like top 10 greatest debut albums, this is probably going to be on the list. I mean, it's such an incredible debut album for them. And I've heard that none of their other albums really come close to this one. So we'll see. And I really kind of came onto this album because of Scott from Townsend. In fact, I should say he bought me this album. He bought me the Tommy album that I have as well. He's bought me a couple albums, which is really nice of him. It's really cool. I think there's House of the Holy. He bought that album for me as well. So it's like 3 of the albums I have on this list, thanks to Scott buying them for me. But this is one where Scott really championed this album. It's one of his favorite albums, I believe. We'll see. He's doing his top 100 albums list, so I'm sure it's going to be on there somewhere. Yeah, it's one of his favorite 70s albums for sure. I know he's talked about. But yeah, so that's why, because Scott talked about it so much, I was like, yeah, I really need to listen to that one, because this wasn't on my top 100 last time I did it, because I really hadn't listened to it. And so then going into it, of course, what's so amazing is there's only like 8 songs on here, and 5 of the 8 songs are radio hits. That's incredible. That's like over 50% of your songs are hit songs. That's an incredible percentage. And what really makes the album, that's why it's up here in my top 100. I had to get in here because I was like, man, how can you not, with all these great songs, 70s hits on here. I mean, it begins with their greatest song, I think, More Than a Feeling. Oh my gosh, one of the greatest 70s songs. Obviously, everybody knows that, More Than a Feeling. So catchy. Guitar riff, dun, 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 whatever that guitar riff. So great. I mean, I love how it begins, and then we get into the guitar riff. It doesn't start the song, but we kind of start off, and then all of a sudden the guitar riff comes in, and you're like, holy cow, that's a good guitar riff. And really, the song gets a little more faster paced, I guess. Man, and it gets so good, and the vocals, everything's great on the song. And then it goes into Peace of Mind, another great song. Foreplay / A Long Time, another great hit for them. Hitch a Ride. Again, I said these are all like big hit songs on the radio. And then Let Me Take You Home Tonight, another, probably my second favorite on here. The Let Me Take You Home Tonight. Another staple of 70s, radio. Yeah, so it's up 91. Those songs are great. Some of the best stuff. Some of the best 70s songs. The only thing is, like, the other 3, I'm not a big fan of the other 3 songs, so it kind of hurts the album. So that's why it's only at 91. Again, 9 out of 10 album. One I'm glad I got here in my top 100. So yeah, that's a little bit long, so I had a long intro here. So hopefully I get through them, but I'm glad I'm getting through 10 at a time. We can get through this list a lot quicker. I'm going to try to get through it a lot quicker than I did last time. So Anyway, so hope you enjoyed that. Hearing another list from me. I like to do these lists, and so yeah, feel free. What do you think about these new albums I got on my list? What a strong, I mean, gosh, so many great albums just in this bottom 10. It's so incredible. So yeah, feel free to comment what you think about these albums, if it makes your list. Love to read your comments, and just thank you for watching the video. Thank you for liking it. Thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all, and hope you have